Real quick before we get into the review, just gotta thank the people over on Patreon, because without their support, a lot of this upgraded content you see on the channel would not be possible. And I gotta say, on top of being able to respond to you guys in the DMs, you know, one of the fun things about the Patreon is every 3 months we do an anime and manga haul, and there's a lot of good goodies in that one. You also get sneak peeks at videos that haven't made their way onto the channel yet. I'm still figuring out what to do for actual YouTube memberships, so leave a suggestion down in the comment section below. But with that being said, thank you so much for all of you guys' support, and now let's get into the review. Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys a review for Boruto episode 208. And now that episode 208 is done and in the books, ooh, boy, do we got a lot to talk about off of this episode, man. There were a lot of changes made to the actual manga, and I gotta say, first and foremost, I'm a fan of the changes that they made to the actual manga adaptation, but we gotta start off with those very beautiful opening shots of BoruShiki and how in that moment that Boro realized he'd been praying to the wrong Otsutsuki god, because when BoruShiki calls this man an inferior creature and only a handful of casual hits, BoruShiki has Boro unconscious. This is absolutely crazy. The first attack that comes obliterates this man's arm. The second attack, there's a knee that hits Boro and sends this dude flying all the way clean across the battlefield. Then immediately after that, Team 7, they have the moments where they're reacting. BoruShiki's looking at Boruto's karma seal and he's like, yo, this vessel is so low on chakra, he's so low on power. He goes over to Naruto and in the most disrespectful way possible, he uses Naruto like a walking battery pack. What's so crazy about it is he takes just enough chakra. If you read the manga, you know why he did not take over a certain amount of chakra from Naruto. However, with that small amount of chakra that he took from Naruto, BoruShiki makes a giant Rasengan. The crater, the shockwaves are enough so that it's blowing away everybody in the actual radius. And when you look at the crater that's left, that crater is bigger in size than the one that Naruto used when he took out Delta. Or if it's not bigger, it's damn close to the actual size of it. Like, just looking at the actual size of it, that's absolutely insane that just a small amount of chakra for a Rasengan, a giant Rasengan, pumped out that much destructive force right there. That's absolutely freaking insane. The actual multiplier that you're getting once you go into an Otsutsuki transformation state. I love seeing that, and I also love how the anime gives you this wide shot. And people that are familiar with my manga content know that I was not a fan of this particular shot of BoruShiki in the manga, because I thought the manga's paneling was absolutely garbage for this actual scene. But I like how the anime gives you this wide shot, and there's more actual weight to the actual scene with the anime just focusing on that right there. That's why you hear me say so many times about how the manga could be a lot better if the mangaka would allow the characters to break out the panels or utilize more full page spreads or double page spreads. That's for reasons like that, because when you get those huge moments, like how in the actual anime you actually see BoruShiki and BoruShiki just has the entire screen filled up with the actual Rasengan and it's just him on top, or you get the wide shot of him floating in the air. Those are full page spreads or double page spreads right there. So you're kind of seeing how the anime's adding more weight to these heavier scenes, which again is very much needed because the manga drops the ball there. I love seeing that bit right there. I love the fact that there's not a trace of Boro's body left. He obliterates him, and as Boruto starts falling to the ground, Momoshiki taking over Boruto's body says, my little blue-eyed child, the day where you lose everything is not quite here yet. And I love how Boruto has no recollection of what actually happened. He's essentially looking down at his karma seal and he's asking what just took place here. And I like how Mitsuki is the one who is shown with the dialogue saying like, yo, this karma seal might be more dangerous than any of us actually thought. I love seeing that little small nod right there. That was a very nice touch. Now, I will say this though, when I say that there were some changes that were made to the actual anime, I said a lot of them I was okay with, because the whole scene after the fact where they're in the hospital and everything, in the manga, just being blunt with you, I thought that the manga version was boring. I thought that it was nice to see the level of concern that you see, and I thought that for plot reasons, pushing it forward, it definitely worked narratively, but it didn't have those same emotional elements that the actual anime was able to really convey to you. Just the small changes like restructuring everything where everybody's all in the same room. I thought that that was very nice. I thought that the incorporation of the flashbacks and the gradual passive aggressive anger that you start seeing with Naruto as Shikamaru begins to start pressing Kawaki, the way that Naruto's face is drawn, that was a very quiet fury that you saw building up in Naruto, because that's a very soft spot for him, because Naruto understands how it feels to be a Jinchuriki and how it feels to be viewed as somebody that is less than human. So I like that you see those very subtle cues right there. And if you're familiar with the Shikamaru Shinden novel Morning Clouds, one of the things that you see in that novel right there is that Naruto and Shikamaru, their relationship is complicated. There's a lot of love between the two. Shikamaru definitely supports Naruto, has Naruto's best interest at heart, but there are some times where Naruto does get visibly upset with Shikamaru, and I like how the anime is giving you a small tease of that right there. And Boruto recalling more than once his conversation with Momoshiki, kind of showing how he's kind of struggling with that actual reality, showing the scenes where he's looking down at his karma seal, he's in his actual bedroom looking up at his karma. Every time he looks at it, he's thinking back to what happened with Momoshiki, that line where he tells Kawaki, I'm never gonna be a normal kid again. Those little small things like that, because you gotta understand, for Boruto and Kawaki had a very different upbringing. Kawaki, his real father beat the brakes off of him on a regular basis. His real father bust him over the head with the liquor bottle and said, go get me some more liquor. Essentially, Kawaki had been operated on and experimented on and beat on a regular basis when he was under Jigen's care, and he was seen as a tool, whereas Boruto's been spoiled and coddled. Boruto hasn't really had to live that harder lifestyle that somebody like Kawaki's had. So when he says like, yo, I'm never gonna be the same again, Boruto's kind of realized like, yo, my childhood is over. Whereas when you look at Kawaki never really had a childhood, and now he's in that very weird place where I personally understand where Kawaki's coming from, because things like sitting down to have dinner with the family, that's foreign to somebody that's never really had that. And I know for me how I felt when I was in a situation where I'm sitting down with a girlfriend and her family, or when my friend Helmy was alive and I would go over and have dinner with his family, I would always be sitting there uncomfortable because I never had that growing up. I never knew what that was like to have everybody sitting there saying, how was your day, and etc. I would be looking down at my plate not knowing how to actually contribute. And it's the same thing when it comes to how Kawaki, he genuinely wants to feel the love that Naruto's giving him, but it's hard. And I swear to God, some of you guys are not gonna understand this. When you're somebody who does not feel like you're deserving of the love that people want to give you, it's almost impossible for you to accept that love because you think you're not deserving of that love. And when it comes to just love and those relationships that you have with people, that communication, that trust, being able to communicate that I'm a damaged person and I see what you're trying to do for me, but I need time to be able to accept that. That's that funky space right there, to where Kawaki, every time it looks like he's taking strides forward, he gets little small moments like where he gets ready to knock on Naruto's door and Shikamaru's saying like, yo, Jigen can emerge from this guy's karma seal. You don't need to trust him. You're being too naive. Stuff like that makes Kawaki kind of pull back for a second. For somebody like Boruto, for him to truly understand Kawaki, he has to actually go through something like that, because it's one of those things to where when you've had everything, you can't understand the emotions of somebody who is at rock bottom and is struggling with accepting love. Kawaki still has trust issues. He looks at Sumire and he's like, do I really need to let you inject me with that right there? I'd rather suffer. And then it's after he's shown that love and affection, and you get all these wholesome scenes with Boruto's friends actually coming to visit Kawaki and they're sharing custard, and you see how those walls start coming down, and then you kind of transition over to where he's like, well, I'll go visit Naruto, I'll check on him, and then he overhears what Shikamaru says. And those words that Shikamaru utters, it rips the soul out of Kawaki. And the reason why this is so important is that Naruto isn't as smart as Shikamaru. Naruto still very much is an idiot, but one thing that Naruto does have over Shikamaru is that Naruto has a very high emotional intelligence level, and Naruto understands that they're at a very critical point with Kawaki right now, where essentially they're in a battle for Kawaki's soul. They're in a battle for Kawaki's soul with Jigen and ultimately with Momoshiki Otsutsuki. And while Shikamaru is thinking about the threat level, Naruto's also thinking about, well, we also have this child's soul that we also need to try and nurture and build back up. And then while that's going on, you have Sasuke saying, okay, I think my hypothesis that Jigen was an Otsutsuki is incorrect. I think that we're in a situation where Jigen is just a vessel for the Otsutsuki. Then it's possible that Kawaki's Karma Seal is being used to revive another Otsutsuki separate from what Jigen has. So Sasuke's getting very close to the actual truth at this point. Now he's starting to realize, wait a second, you had Jigen in his normal state, you had Jigen with the Karma Seal, then you had Jigen with that Otsutsuki transformation, but his body's still human, which means that if an Otsutsuki fully revives inside of him, then you're gonna have the full power of the Otsutsuki unleashed with an actual Otsutsuki walking on the actual planet. So Sasuke's putting all the pieces together, and those you guys who still have PTSD from Boruto episode 204, just know that Sasuke is in the right line of thinking, because for as strong as Jigen was, the Otsutsuki that gave Jigen that Karma Seal and made Jigen a being that is more powerful than Kaguya, you're looking at an Otsutsuki, if it gets revived, that is several times more powerful than Kaguya and is several times more powerful than Jigen. So Sasuke very rightfully is pretty terrified right now, because Sasuke doesn't know whether or not Momoshiki is going to revive inside of Boruto, whether or not Jigen and Kawaki share the same karma for the same Otsutsuki, or whether or not Jigen and Kawaki have karma seals that can be used to revive a separate Otsutsuki outside of the one that gave Jigen his karma. So Sasuke is thinking worst case scenario, we might have 3 Otsutsuki walking around the planet. Best case, we'll just have the one karma seal that Kawaki and Jigen share, and it's the same karma for the same Otsutsuki. Right now it's just a hypothesis for Sasuke. People that read the manga know exactly how close Sasuke is to the actual truth, but Sasuke's got to consider best and worst case scenarios at this point. That's why he's taking the stance he did. While Naruto focuses on the emotional battle, Shikamaru's thinking about defense, Sasuke's also looking at it saying, we need to start considering the worst case scenario, because Naruto and myself just got chakra rods shoved up our ass, and if we end up having to fight 2 Otsutsuki at the same time that are even stronger than Kaguya, yeah, chances are the whole world's gonna get blown up at this point. So right now, the mission to try and find a way to suppress the Karma Seal, it's all hands on deck as far as Sasuke is concerned mentally at this point, because he's putting the pieces together. And just speaking of that, I do like the fact that, you know, in this, like, Shikamaru asked Kawaki some very pointed questions of like, yo, so all the car members, those are all their names, they're all cyborgs like you, there's nothing else we need to know. And manga readers know that, like, Kawaki left out some very important information in the actual episode when he's giving information about the car and members that still remain. And what I like about this is the fact that it's really Shikamaru's fault, because Kawaki answered the question specifically, is there another vessel? Technically that character is not a vessel, so Shikamaru, dog, you really should not have been so directly aggressive with Kawaki, because if you would have kind of brought this kid along slowly and actually picked his mind and got to know the personality more, you probably could have got the information that's currently fucking everybody in the manga right now. So I like how you see those 3 kind of putting their heads together. Now, the one thing I will say is that I was not a fan of how the anime actually cut a moment where Ikimoto, the illustrator for the Boruto manga, actually paid homage to what Masashi Kishimoto drew in Naruto Gaiden in early 2015, which was, you had that moment to where Sakura is standing at Sarada's bedside. She's caring for her, much in the same way that Sakura in Naruto Gaiden was at Sarada's bedside when Sarada had that fever and she was worried about her father. During that time that the anime confirmed, that's when she awakened her Sharingan. Essentially, you're in this situation to where Ikimoto, the Boruto illustrator for the manga, redid the whole scene, but he kind of took the baton and took it a little bit further, because in the manga, and I'm paraphrasing, but Sakura's telling Sarada, like, look, you know, you need to rest, because if you're gonna worry about Boruto and try and protect Boruto, the only way you can actually do so is if you rest and get stronger, but you can't get stronger until you rest. And Sasuke kind of does the same thing, and the anime cut that scene out right there, but given all the extra stuff that the anime's done, I mean, I'm okay with it. At this point, you know, those people that are Sakura fans, they should be used to the anime cutting out a lot of Sakura scenes, or just changing scenes altogether when it comes to the character, like taking out Sakura saving Naruto's life during the Land of Waves arc, or having Sakura just stand around during the Tenchi Bridge arc when Sasuke was just butchering everybody in Team 7. I mean, at this point, I get why Sakura fans are upset, but all three Naruto anime, from Naruto all the way to Boruto, they've changed Sakura scenes as well as seen some other characters. That's why I always tell people, read the manga. Don't just go off what you see in the anime. This episode has so much good stuff added to it. I don't think you can get too upset. That's just my personal opinion. My episode question to you guys, I have two for you. So if you had to make a guess on what the actual multiplier for the karma seal is, let me know what that would actually be. And then the second question that I have for you guys is, what are your thoughts about how the animes handle Boruto and Kawaki struggling with their internal demons? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Have an awesome day, guys.